doing today? Just a second. I'm a little late getting the trading room open. Let me work on that real quick. That'll give everybody time to log in. There we go. We're getting there. All righty. Let's do this here. Okay, can't do that. All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. How the heck are we? Whoops. Let me get rid of that. There we go. All right. December 2nd, Tuesday, all day long, right? Another day that ends in Y. Good morning, Coach. Hey, Gold. Hey, Donna. Good morning. Joe, Julie. That's the only names I can see right now. But good morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's see. Waiting for this to turn on. You know, man, this market is crazy. Hey, good morning, Vern. Appreciate you being there. Thanks. This market is, when you look at the market, where's my mouse? There it is. Let's look at the monthly since we need to talk about that. Look how the market has just been going. Look back over here, even right here. And then, you're always going to have those pullbacks, corrections, if you want to call them corrections, whatever you want to call them, bad days, good days for those that are trading it. But man, we are just rocking here. While we're rocking, I did a video last night and I mentioned this, that we have a hangman up here on the weekly, and we really do need to be careful of this right here. Just make sure you realize it's there. I think that's the important thing, because to me, it's not the monthly that makes the difference. It's not the weekly that makes the difference. You can see that the weekly we were down. Okay, fine. But notice trend was never broken. And trend is all about those green dots for me, or red dots if we're bearish. You can see them over here. And we did go below the 8 EMA. That breaks my heart, but we get over that. The sun will rise the next day. But overall, you can see trend did not break. And then we came in here and put this big bullish candle in for the weekly, nice run. And now we've got an inside day and we're trying to get it broken out, right? Now, and I said on the monthly, that doesn't do too much for me, but I recognize the candle. The weekly does a little bit for me, but certainly doesn't. It's not what's important to me. But we want to watch it. Look at the daily. This is what's important to me, because it's the daily that does all the work. It's the daily that climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs and has to take a little bit of rest. So daily is the one that does all the work. That's the one that means the most. And I want to say before we get going here, a couple of things. One, I bought puts because I thought for darn sure. I mean, I got to tell you, it broke my heart when I turned the TV on this morning and arrow, there we go, and saw the futures here, because I thought for sure that we were going to slip a little bit and come down. So I bought puts just for this little pullback here. So I got to tell you, I had the wind punched out of me this morning. It's like, doggone it. Still trying to figure out where I went wrong on it, but I just want to share out there, hey, these things happen. So you just have to pick the rest of it up and get going here. I also want to share with everybody that John from BYOB day trading course tomorrow, all day long, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. If anyone would like to join up over there, please do. It's free. I think you do have to register. But everybody dive in there. You just might learn something. And remember, anything you learn on day trading can be moved to swing trading. So if you're a swing trader and you're definitely not a day trader, I get that. I'm not. But there's a lot you can learn from looking at day trade charts. Another thing is we have our members e-learning this Thursday starting at noon. And all members, all trial members of Right Way Options, Hit and Run Candlesticks, and BYOB are more than welcome. If you don't know how to log into it, make sure you ask today or tomorrow in the appropriate room. So if you're Hit and Run Candlesticks, you remember you don't know how to log in, just hit us up today. We'll show you how. It's real easy, but we'll show you there. Okay. Another thing is time is running out. That just, it just is. We're going to turn the Black Friday sale off for Right Way Options, for Hit and Run Candlesticks, and for BYOB trading this week. So when it's turned off, it'll be turned off. Okay. This is not, hey, we're bringing it back because, one last encore. Nope. When it gets turned off, it gets turned off. And so take a look at that if you're interested. And appreciate that. Everyone that has signed up, thank you very much. There's been a lot of people do that, and really, really appreciate it. I do 2 hours coaching when anyone signs up for it, and man, I have I have hell of a busy schedule coming up. But that's okay. I was talking to Ed yesterday, and I said I really love it. I've been calling, anyone that takes a trial. And talk about trading, and I've really enjoyed that. So okay, all right, let's get down to business here. All right, let's do that. So here, let me move this mic out of the way a little bit. The SPY here, like I said, I had SPY puts on this last night, thinking that we were going to pop down. I guess today's not over. It could still happen, but the pre-market here looks like the bulls really want to take it higher. So yeah, go Bulls. I would rather it be long, I guess, than anything. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to run. I've got you can see here, I've got a list of stocks. I don't look at these every single morning here live, but I do look at some of them, and let's do that. So let's take a look at BITO. I'm just going from the top. That doesn't mean anything that I'm starting with BITO, BITO. I did what did I do? A YouTube video last night on BITO. Was it last night? Maybe the day before. But I am very interested in buying it. And now we have a low in here. I'm like so interested. I just might buy this today. No guarantees I will, but I just might. And then my stop will be about this $12.32 or the low of yesterday. But what I like about it is we've got a low, we've got a high, we've gapped down. I absolutely recognize that this is not a double bottom or a higher low, but I like the fact we ended with a doji. And if we can end with a bullish candle today, I'm very likely to start looking into some Bitcoin tickers here, one like BITO or IBIT or even ETHA, something like that. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Take a look at NVIDIA here. NVIDIA is still in a downtrend. Price is above the T-line pre-market, but we're not going to count that. Today's not closed. But price is below the T-line or the 8 EMA. The 8 is below the Trendicator, and Trendicator as a bonus is below the 50-period moving average. You can clearly see it's in a downtrend. So when to be long? Well, look, there's no reason. There's no reason at all not to be long in this area if this is the kind of trading you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that kind of trading is sort of bottom picking trading. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you have a handle on it. Make sure that you have a stop that is really, really important. So, maybe your stop is right in here. Well, stick with that stop. If your trade plan says, well, your stop's down here, make sure you have that stop, because the trend will continue to be a trend until it is no longer a trend. Okay. It's real simple. And for this to change to be a bullish trend, it's going to work to build a bottom in here. And that is what it's doing. So there's nothing wrong with buying it here. Just have a stop. If you're waiting for trend to change, you're probably going to look at buying up in here for NVIDIA. Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. Now, I am still holding TSLL. That's the single stock ETF for Tesla, but you can see it's starting to work, trying to break out here. So here we have a low, we have a high, we have a double bottom or higher low. They mean the same thing to me. And now you see we've rallied up. We actually consolidated one day. We've come up to these highs, and now we're doing a little consolidation now. To me, this is setting up very nice to break out. Doesn't guarantee it's going to break out, but it's doing everything that I think it should be doing to break out. Okay. I mean, here I'm the guy that bought puts on the SPY thinking it should go down today. So we'll see. Take a look at SMH. We got SMH. Can you say the bulls are back in town? Everybody all at one time? Ready? Bulls are back in town. This thing's working, and this is a market leader. This gets that tech going, and when tech gets to going, the rest of the market can look like crap, but tech can pull you right out. Tech is what runs the market right now. That doesn't mean that things like Coke can't be traded, or AT&T, or any of those. They're all good, and they're all set up. IBM, nice chart. But tech rules the roost here. There's no question about it. Tech rules the roost. So we've got price above the 8 EMA above the trendicator above the 50 period moving average. That 50 is a bonus. That's looking pretty good right there. So if I had to put some targets on this is the way I would do it. I would come over to these highs like this. I would move that line down, and I can see that, let's make that a little bigger. I can see that this area right here would be a target right in here. And it's the same thing as putting lines up there. If you want to look at, these stocks that here we've come down to a low and tagged it. That was awfully close. There we touched it. There we touch it. There we touch it. There we touch it. There we touch it. It's the same thing as putting lines. You can do that. I could put a line right here, and that would make sense for a target. Or I've got the lines already drawn in there for me. Now I do this just because I like it. I think it's kind of cool. I can see it better, but it's the same line as right in here. And then the top, of course, we pick the top, so that's going to be right on. Point is, there's SMH. It's looking pretty good right now. We get through 357. It looks like 365 might be the next target up there. Keeping in mind, there's no guarantee that we're going to move up in that area. We could easily move back. It's all about buyers and sellers. Are the buyers, do they outweigh the sellers, or do the sellers outweigh the buyers? So we have to watch price. Price action is important. Let's take a look at Meta. Now, this is another one that I own, the single stock ETF, METU. I own that. And that's working pretty good. Look how that thing has gone from a downtrend. It's worked its way up to above the trendicator. We've rode that up, and that's brought the 8 EMA up. Now we're starting to cross. Well, now we have trend. We're starting to get trend here. So if this can hold bullish today and not fall apart, tomorrow the 8 will be above the trendicator, and we'll have price 8 trendicator, bullish trend. Looks like we're working to get to that 670 level. The 670 level is important because that's the 50% of the highs up here of, what is that? October. The highs of October down to these lows, and that takes us to that 50% mark. And I got to tell you, as far as trading goes, when I buy something below, I'm tickled pink when we get there. And to me, that is the prize target. That is a prize. That's a big deal. Now, can Meta go higher? Absolutely. We all know Meta can go higher, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm going to hold it. I can tell you right now, there's absolutely big goose egg chance that I'm going to hold my METU, waiting for it to break out. I'm going to take that price, because what that does is it protects that money. That money is no longer at risk. I can put it in the Road to Wealth account, and that's how the Road to Wealth account is already tripled, but I'm working to get it to quadruple. That's over a 200% move in 10 months. Not too shabby. So, and that's even, and I don't mind sharing this. That's even this past month has been the worst month I've had. It is horrible month, ugly month. Still maintaining that triple on that account. So then what I'll do, I'll let it settle down here because we usually see a lot of consolidation around that 50. And I'll let it settle down. Then I'll look to buy it again. Again, not Meta, the METU, the single stock ETF. And then you can see I've got targets to work with on the way up on Meta or METU. Let's take a look at Google. Sorry I took so long on that one. Probably shouldn't have done that. Meta here, I'm going to remove all those. We're sitting in a 3-8 trap right now. So what I'd be looking for is buyers to step in. I'm not a big one for just buying because it's a doji in a 3-8 trap. I want to see buyers. So I'll be the guy that pays the higher price. I'm always that guy. But right now, Meta looks bullish. This pullback just looks like a bullish pullback. Profit taking, nothing real serious. We do have a hangman up here. Okay, we do that. And to me, 36 years of working with candlesticks. The first few years, I didn't know shit from Shinola, but I've learned it over the years. And one thing I've learned is I don't care what the candle pattern is up here. It doesn't mean that the stock is going to go down to zero or get cut in half. It doesn't mean that at all. Candlesticks are very short term. They're short term because they're created by short term people, and every one of us is a short term person. So you may trade long term. Doesn't matter. I can see that. If you saw that in the camera, you looked at it. You looked at the next shiny thing. That's what I mean. We are very short term thinkers. And so that we're doing just what that candle did. And now I'm going to wait for that buy signal for that next buy in there. Take a look at Amazon. I think Amazon goes higher. I had an order in. It did not, I don't believe it did not fill. AMZU, the single stock ETF. I don't think it filled. Nope, it never filled. So I'll look to get in that again. AMZU, that's the single stock ETF. And I buy those single stock ETFs because they're less money. The Road to Wealth account, it's right at $15,000. It's not big enough to buy options in Amazon when we're looking at a $235, $236 stock price. It would eat up my capital. So I'm looking to do that. Now, see how we're bumping right up against that 50% relief rally area? We're right there right now. So let it bounce around. I'll look to buy it. I want to buy it because I want to hold this longer term. I think it jumps up and, takes out these highs and even taps on $300 up there. So I am looking to get that. It may sit here and, it may pop up and then sit here and consolidate for a couple of days just because we're at that level. MAGs, you can see MAGs on a nice bullish trend here. Take a look at RSP. We're now bullish. RSP now is back above the 8 EMA. The 8 is above the 50 period moving average. And if the bullishness can hold, the trend indicator will be above the 50 there. All is good. Market moves higher. Microsoft. All right, let's keep an eye on Microsoft. What time is it? Man, I don't want to get too late here. Let's keep our eye on Microsoft because look what's happening. If you're buying Microsoft, this is what we want to look for. This is what I want to look for right here. Here we're bouncing off the 200 period moving average. A nice hammer. A good 3 candles down there. You even had a tweezer bottom right here. Now, here we've rallied up and see how we've pulled back. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at that and say, well, that's setting up short. Well, if you want to be short on it, knock yourself dead. You know, and it could happen. I'm not, you know, just remember that's any short setup is half of a bullish setup. It's half of a bullish reversal. So low to higher low, half of a bullish reversal. In fact, it might even be 3/4 because now all we have to do is break out of that high right there. Now what we have is a trend, low to this low. That's pretty steep. I hate to draw it like that, but that's what it is. If we start to break out, now you've got a low, high, higher low, higher high. So that's what I'm looking at. We've got a low, high, higher low. We put in that higher high, we just might jump right to that 50 period moving average, let it dance around there, and then we'll reevaluate and see if it's going to move up or move back down. Apple, bullish. Okay. There's no more to say about that. It's bullish. It's trending. XLE, it needs to break out, but it sure is trying, isn't it? If we draw that trend line from the lows down to this low here, man, we keep bumping our heads up here at this high. Bump, 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 bump. Not even paying attention to this low. Not at all. This thing wants out. Let me out of this cage. So let's keep an eye on some oil, energy. Transports, it keeps trying to break out of that top, you know, bump, 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 bump. It needs to break out, no doubt about it. What's a weekly look like? Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, let's look at that. So let's take the weekly here. And if we just take the trend indicator, all right, just the trend indicator, and I'm going to, right where it went from red to green, I'll just click on that red, and I'm going to draw it to this last line. I don't care what it does in the middle. I can clearly see we never once went bearish. All right, there you go. There's your trend right there. Here's your top, and that's called an ascending triangle. That's a bullish chart pattern, and that thing starts to break out. That really could lead this market, overall market, SPY up into that 700 area. Take a look at COPX, copper, bullish. What else are you going to say? Nice trend, flag pullback, breakout. Boom, there you go. All right, let's look at this. PAL. I want to look at PAL. We're on the weekly. There you go. See how, if you look at PAL, let me get my crayon up here again. Look at this low and see how we rallied up and pulled back. Nice, beautiful 3/8 trap. And we're just now coming off of this bottom. So that tells me this is a pretty good low risk entry. I mean, I would like to think if somebody bought this and if it started to fail, your stop would be somewhere in that area, maybe as low as the 50 period moving average. And Lord, I hate to think about it, but some people may use that. I think that's craziness. But for God's sakes, use it as a stop at the very least. Okay, so put that stop in there. Very low risk on this right now. Here is, you can see where those lines are, those lines all right there. See how that one's fatter? That's that 50% retracement area. It looks like it's trying to break out. You know, we're bumping up against it. We keep trying to attack it. It's looking for a hole. It'll find it. It'll find it. URA. Take a look at URA. Look at that. All right. So URA has been in a downtrend. See how we have this hammer? We've rallied up, right? Up, low to high. See how we have a higher low? We're looking for that bullish move there. Now, for the negative traders out there and determined to blow this market up by shorting, go right ahead. If you see this start to fail, absolutely be short. But right now, I'm a pretty positive guy. If I wasn't, I'll probably have killed somebody by now. But hey, I'm positive. I look at this thing and that looks like a bottom trying to reverse. Look at the chart pattern, inverted head and shoulders. I think it's starting to work here. So let's keep an eye on that one. Take a look at IBM. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Look how IBM went from low up. We're consolidating, popped up again, consolidating again. It's working to take those highs out. I have no idea what that line is for there. But yeah, IBM moving up. And I know, tops like this are concerning. I'm concerned too, but our focus is right here, knowing that that is hanging there. Okay. So, out of the corner of one eye, always recognize these tops. Those are not good tops. I don't like them. But if if every top that looked like this, if we could never get through it, phew, well, IBM wouldn't be worth squat, would it? So, yes, it can get through it. We just have to be careful, and it's about what it does over here that makes the difference. Are we going to fail here? Are we going to have a bad candle here? But right now, looks to me like we've got this morning star sort of kind of setup. Um, there you go. Morning star setup that is working up, consolidating, tightening up, squeezing. That's a word that people like to use in the trading world, squeezing, ready to pop out. So it just might be ready. Keep an eye on that one. Um, for the members, let's take a look at AI again. I'm serious. I hate to say it. I think this stock hates me, but look at this beautiful bullish Hiromi. You've got your doji continuation pattern right here. Here we've moved up and made that high. Here we've come back and made that low. So now trend, right? Assuming, we pop up, then we could have trend starting here. That's a little bit steep, but that's okay because when it pops up, more than likely it'll squat down a little bit and allow us to move this down a little bit here. But I think AI might be trying to print a bottom in here. We'll keep an eye on that one. How about AEHR? Here's another one. Nice little bottom right in here. Low, high. Look at that pullback. 3-8 trap. Setting up. First target will be the 50 period moving average. Simple as that. If it can pass the 50, now we've got some room to move higher. We've got some real room to move higher. So let's take that high and those lows. And well, that's the 50% right there, close to the 50. This would be the next line up. And let's duplicate that. There we go. Right in there would be the next line up, and so on and so on. So AEHR. We already did Microsoft. Here's one. Take a look at Hood. All right. I think Hood might be ready to move higher now. So Hood, nasty pullback, right? I mean, it happens. It happens to the best of stocks. So here we hit the dotted deuce or the modified 200 period moving average. We've rallied up. And then from here, you can see we gapped. And now we've pushed back. So we've got a low to a high to a higher low. So let's draw a trend in there, right? Now we're looking for this to move higher. We get to that 50, it very well may move sideways. It just might. And then watch it to get ready again for that move up. I guess we could do this for the line drawers. There you go. And the last one I have here, IONQ. Sorry to take so long today. I've been watching this one for a while. I've talked about it a couple times. Beautiful hammer, Morningstar, nice rally up, high, low. Looking for that to move right up in here, and that's about 20%, close to 20%. So there's some stocks to take a look at today. And there's a lot more out there. There's a lot of stocks. So, all right. I see some folks posted some out here. Let me go over here to, we'll do you folks today first. Thank you very much for logging in live, 8:30 a.m. For those that maybe I've been doing some testing here and watching. You can log in through X, Facebook, or YouTube. I'm going to tell you right now, it's hands down better to log in through YouTube. Okay. There's a lag in Facebook. There's a lag in X. I don't know why those don't talk. I use a program called Realstream. And, but if you want to be live right in the morning early, go to YouTube, just log in from there and forget about those others. I'm still going to post over there, but they cause a lot of grief. People telling me, well, it's like I had somebody tell me it was like 18 minutes late or something like that in Facebook. And yes, it is. So go to YouTube and do it right. All right. So those here, let's take a look at yours. Thank you very much for being here. RGTI. RGTI. So RGTI, low, high, higher, low. See, here's a case where you're looking at that short, and I would have to, I would have to see some serious breaking of the dotted deuce there and the 200 period moving average. Now, that's 22%. So that could certainly, that's some money. And then you've got all this price action over here to act as support. So here's a couple things. The market's bullish. So I'm not even going to even entertain taking a short. Market's bullish. So this to me is put on the watch list for a long, low, high, higher low. If it does, which there's no guarantee, but if it starts to move up, whoops, I wanted to make that green. There we go. Now that's a buy. But if you are looking for it short, it is a 3/8 trap short. It is in a downtrend, but I see some support down here for it, and we have a bullish market. Now, I would like to tell almost everybody, do not short a bullish market. It is not healthy. And I would like to ask to see your records and to see if you're actually making money overall. But I must say that I can tell who put this out there. And I know this person is a very good trader. So maybe for them, they can pull this off and it just might work. Okay. But overall, do not short a bearish market, a bullish market. Airbnb. That's setting up. Are we looking short on that one? Long. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Low. Yeah, look at this. Low, high. Look at that higher low. We're heading to the long side. So right now, to the long side, I need to I'm looking at my other monitor over here, right there. Yeah. You know what? Let me flip to the cloud. Okay. Yeah. So, long, but right there, which is only 4% away, I have some heartburn with that level. See that red line that goes right across? Let's get rid of this. We don't need this. See that red horizontal line right there? That's part of the cloud. I'm going to put this yellow line there just so it shows up better. But that would be the absolute target. Then Airbnb is going to have to work, chop, maybe cause some hair to fall out, something like that, before it can actually break out. So with only a 4% move here, probably not my game, but I like what it's doing here. It may be trying to mount an attack to that level and break out of that level. So that's my thinking on Airbnb. NBIS. Whoa. Sorry about that, folks. I should have told you to cover your eyes. The wrong button there. Airbnb is an absolute buy. That's a beautiful chart. First area to move to is about 11 to 12% away, and we can look at those targets above that. Do I have that right? Yeah. So low, high. It did move lower. It did move lower. Let's look at a 2-day chart, 3-day chart. Good consolidation here. So I'm trying to find a way to look at this in a good way. Oh, there you go, right there. Weekly chart. Remember, the smaller the time frame, the more choppy it's going to be. See, the weekly takes a lot of the chop out of it. Anyway, nice chart. Thank you very much. Flag that one right there. Right there. TSM, let's take a look. TSM. I'm going to have to be bullish on that. I'm going to get rid of those blue lines. Don't know why they're there. Yeah, I'm going to have to be bullish on that. I think we've got a very nice bottom here. Very nice. Inverted head and shoulders. A lot of shoulders, a little neck. right in here. And we just kind of rallying right up. We've broken out of that downtrend right in here. So I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, let's keep an eye on TSM. A great one for the semiconductors. Great one. All righty. Let's see, Thomas, IYT. Yeah, we peaked at that earlier, but right now it's bullish. It needs to break out of this 73.50 to make a difference in the market. Right now, the only difference it's making is it's holding its own. But at this point, I see no reason why it can't break out. It's just a matter of when. Hey, trader, Rick, I think logging in to the room. Thank you, trader. Yes, logging into the room is best. Yes. Sonny, just become a member. Hear that? But there's a couple people over here that are members, so thank you for being there. Let's see, Pepsi. Am I right? Pepsi. Let's look at that. Pepsi remains strong. Didn't pull back a day yesterday. Yeah. Pepsi's remaining strong. I think Pepsi here, though. Let's do this. We better put that line in there, and it may have a little trouble up there, and it can also break out. But right now, Pepsi. If we look at the weekly, looks to me like we're forming a bottom to move out here to break out higher. Inverted head and shoulder here. So yeah, Pepsi looks like it's going higher overall for me. Let's see. Coach is saying he bought some ETHA. Thank you very much. THA. That's in that BITO area. And just what I was talking about earlier, low, high, higher, low. This thing is starting to work, I think, starting to create that bottom right in there. Gold there picked up some calls on BITO at the closing yesterday. Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else have any charts you want to look at? We can do that. Well, I guess it's time to go, actually. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Here, we'll look at these two really quick, and then we're out of here, okay? CONL, low, high, higher, low. That might be setting up to move higher. And that's the coin ETF, single stock ETF. Thank you. I'm going to look at that one. Let me write that down. CONL. Long. Yeah. I like the way that's setting up, Sonny. Thank you very much. We've had a good down move. So that we've had enough bars that were good and oversold here. And now the bottom is being put in. So it may, no one is saying, I'm not saying that this thing is going to be rock and rolling up to big new highs. I'm not saying that. But I see a chart like this, and I'm going to come over here and take this high and come down to that low. And there's the 50% area. We've got all these moving averages here, and these things mean a lot to me. So what if we did this? What if we just went down to that next line right there? We buy, it moves up, we close for 43%. Job well done. There you go. And then if it wants to get all tough boy on us and chew through all this, and then if it wants to get up here and move above that 50% line, well, let's take a look at that again and make another 43%. So I think that's a great looking chart, Sonny. Thanks. Plan your trade, and right there, I just planned my trade. That simple. Planned it. I'm happy with 44% on the stock. Man, that's a 90% move on the option or more. So rock and roll. Let's look at BLSH. BLSH. See, that's another one. Maybe setting up after a long move down. We've got a low to a high to a higher low. We need the bulls to step in, and once they do, we can give them a trend. Now you can follow that trend. From here to the 50, that's 24%. Not too shabby. And no one is saying it's going up here. Work for those moves right there. Those are great dinners right there. Great dinners. NTLA. Take a look at NTLA. Bottoming. You can see the low, the high, the higher low. Because this one is so flat, I would probably look at some. Yeah, so get up in this area here around that 904, 905 area. So set that alert when that starts popping up. That's when I think I would like to take a look at it. And a simple move to the 200 period moving average is 22%, but I kind of think that might sing a little higher. Nice chart. Thanks, Julie. All right, seriously, I got to go now. You guys take care. Thank you so very much for being here. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Everyone is welcome live. Take care.